Hi everyone, I can see a few people joining the meeting. I'll give it just a minute or two. I just wanted to say hi and welcome to everybody to another Tiny Teach. For those of you who haven't participated in one of our webinars before, the format is designed to be short, roughly about 30 minutes with 10 to 15 minutes or 15 to 20 of presentation with some time for questions and discussion at the end. My name's Anna Boyle. I'm a product marketing manager here at Readable English, and I'll be co-hosting today with Sabrina King, our customer success manager. We're excited to present today about the challenge that exists around adolescent literacy and to give you a look at how Readable English is changing the equation. We'll also dive into what it looks like for schools and districts to make the shift to Readable English for their adolescent readers. We'll get started. Now, if you work with struggling adolescent readers, you already know the urgency is real. I'm sure you've all seen this stat before, that 70% of students are performing below the NAPE proficient level. There is a literacy crisis among our older students. Students are in 6th, 8th, even 11th grade and still can't access grade level texts. That means they're falling behind not just in reading, but in every subject. And we can't afford to wait. So that's why we're here today. I want to dive into something that's particularly relevant to adolescent readers, and that's the growing body of research pointing to the decoding threshold. It's the line between students who can decode more complex words, multi-syllabic content area words, and those students who can't. Now, in theory, students' reading comprehension ability should improve as they advance to higher grade levels, and it often does. But researchers from a few studies have found that students who were below this threshold were extremely unlikely to make significant progress in reading comprehension in the following years. One of the key problems that typically exists in schools is that explicit decoding instruction stops after 2nd or 3rd grade, and after that it's assumed that kids are reading. But the truth is that 30 to 40% of students are still not at grade level, or they're really struggling with decoding. Another key part of the problem is English spelling. So the American Literacy Council has stated that one of the main causes for illiteracy is the highly erratic spelling system of the English language. And here's a chart from a study, a comprehensive study by Seymour, Arrow and Erskine, who examined early reading acquisition across 14 European languages. The study found that children learning to read in languages with consistent spelling to sound relationships like Finnish, Italian, and Spanish, they achieved approximately 90% word reading accuracy by the end of their first year of instruction. In contrast, the English-speaking children had significantly lower accuracy, averaging only 34% after the same amount of time. The authors attributed this to the deep orthography of English, where we have inconsistent spelling rules and a complex syllabic structure, which makes decoding more challenging. In fact, the authors of the study state that the acquisition of elementary word recognition and decoding occurs more slowly in some languages than in the majority, and the delay is greatly exaggerated in English. So that's the literacy challenge that we're facing. We have a complex spelling system that takes longer than other languages to acquire. We have adolescent readers who are not reaching a level of decoding proficiency that enables them to make progress in comprehension. And we have a system where teachers beyond the elementary grades aren't equipped to teach reading, nor do they have the time to prioritise reading instruction and keep up with the demands of curriculum. So that's where Readable English comes in. It's a rapid intervention that's designed to accelerate decoding. It works by addressing that core problem of English spelling by making every word phonetic. It works by adding a simple, intuitive layout to traditional English text. So unmarked letters make their usual sound. Syllable breaks divide words into readable chunks. Grayed out letters are not pronounced. And glyphs indicate when a letter makes a sound other than its usual sound. The result is that every word is instantly decodable. So students are able to access the full power of the English language phonetically, confidently, and independently. Now, you might be familiar of this graphic of Scarborough's reading rope, which is a powerful framework that explains the complexity of skilled reading. There are two primary components: language comprehension and word recognition. Readable English primarily supports the word recognition component as it takes that guesswork out of sounding out words. This in turn supports the language comprehension component by freeing up those cognitive resources for vocabulary growth and reading comprehension. So in plain terms, we reduce the decoding cognitive load so that students can focus on meaning. There's also with Readable English, there's a seamless transition back to reading in standard English, which was an intentional part of the design of Readable English. So first, the phonetic markup overlays directly onto standard English spelling. This keeps the spelling intact, preserving that visual word recognition, while at the same time, the markup provides the real-time decoding support where it's needed. This enables students to access their grade level content immediately while giving them the tools to decode words accurately and independently. And by enabling that independent word reading, Readable English accelerates orthographic mapping, which is the mental process we use for storing words in our long-term memory for immediate and effortless retrieval. I'm going to hand over now to Sabrina, our Customer Success Manager, who's going to take you through what it looks like to make the shift to Readable English in practical terms.
Thank you, Anna. Here's an overview of what we will cover in this section. So we'll talk about the two key stages of Readable English: training and implementation, tailored models for multilingual learners and students in special education. We'll take a peek at what the learning portal looks like and how we track growth with metametrics. Let's explore how Readable English is put into practice. It's centered around two main stages. In the first stage, breaking the code, students learn the glyphs, which are 21, and the foundational elements of the system. This can be done with teacher guidance or independently, and it supports the development of essential reading skills. In the second stage, integrating the markup, students engage in daily reading practice with the markup to strengthen fluency and comprehension. They can work with the provided reading materials or use the browser extension to apply the markup to any digital text. Let's outline some key elements of implementation. So first, we'll define the purpose. Why are you using Readable English, and the goals for improving students' reading fluency, comprehension, and decoding skills. Next, we'll identify the student groups and teachers who will participate and outline program structure for your implementation. We'll make sure all teachers and students have access to the necessary devices and the Readable English portal. Teachers implementing the program will take part in virtual training to review the plan and best instructional practices. And finally, we can provide ongoing support throughout the year to answer questions and offer guidance as needed. Readable English can be implemented in flexible ways to meet different classroom needs. In the breaking the code stage, students can learn the glyphs independently with teacher guidance or through a combined approach. Once they have the basics, they move into integrating the markup, which can be done in a flexible, teacher-driven way using more of your own high-quality instructional material or through structured daily lesson plans provided in the Readable English Learning Portal. The key is that we can create a plan that best fits each school's time, resources, and students. Tailoring our implementation for special populations is crucial for inclusivity. So let's start with MLL students who are levels 1 and 2. It's important to begin with standard English lessons to build a strong foundation. For levels 3 and above, we can move right into breaking the code, learning those glyphs. When time is limited in your schedule or your implementation, the self-paced model is beneficial as it allows a faster paced implementation. However, if time isn't an issue, teacher-led lessons are ideal for levels 1 through 3, while levels 4 and above benefit from a combined approach. This ensures that all students receive the guidance they need while fostering independence. Now, for special education students, teacher-led or combined models are recommended. Remembering that those independent lessons that are available serve as an additional practice rather than the core learning method. This extra skilled building um, can be very beneficial for students. While standard practice involves 3 glyphs being taught at a time, don't hesitate if you're implementing to slow down to 1 glyph at a time if necessary. This adjustment ensures every student can keep up and succeed. Our aim is to support every student's unique needs, helping them thrive in their learning journey. Readable English's interactive lessons let students read, listen, and engage with text while receiving support and feedback. Quizzes and activities reinforce learning and track progress, keeping students motivated. Teachers can monitor, guide students easily, helping them build reading skills, confidence, and independence all year long. The, brow the browser extension is the online capability that gives students access to adding the markup, definitions, translations, and audio. This allows teachers to encourage students to use it independently, reinforcing reading skills and building confidence. We track growth throughout the year using oral reading fluency and reading comprehension. First, we provide reports that compare student performance to national norms, showing where students fall at the 25th, 50th, and 75th percentiles. Second, we focus on individualized growth rates called the growth factor. This personalized approach helps tailor strategies to meet each student's needs effectively. Understanding these metrics is essential for supporting students in a meaningful way. Now let's take a look at some results you can expect from this approach. Our schools are seeing big results and they're seeing them fast. Gains in decoding, fluency, and comprehension. Students moving up reading levels within weeks, not semesters. It's happening in urban, rural, and suburban settings because when kids can finally decode, they can finally engage. To date, there are 3 independent peer-reviewed studies on the effectiveness of readable English. On average, students learning readable English improved at twice the rate of students in control groups for both reading fluency and comprehension. Typically, these results can be seen as early as the breaking the code stage, where students develop phonemic awareness, phonics, and orthographic mapping. I'm going to hand it back over to Anna to share about one school's story and their results.
Great. Thank you so much, Sabrina. So yes, the school that we're going to look at, just one school, is Birmingham Charter High School in the San Fernando Valley in California. The school implemented Readable English with its grade 9 students. So I want to start with just looking at part of the challenge that teachers were facing at the school. They had 144 students. 90% of the students were on free or reduced lunch. It was a mixed class with some Gen Ed, SPED, and EL students. Teachers reported feeling overwhelmed. They were unable to meet the needs of all students. And the students were disengaged. They were reading behind grade level, which meant that they were unable to engage effectively with the curriculum. They had low confidence and difficulty decoding words. Readable English was selected as an intervention at the school for its ability to help students decode words quickly and accurately, ensuring that they could comprehend their grade level material. Another important feature of Readable English was that the program offers pre-made materials and with minimal additional teacher planning. In terms of their implementation, the structure and routine, the teachers and students engaged with Readable English daily in short 5 to 15-minute lessons using those pre-provided materials in the learning portal. As part of the implementation, we wanted to make sure that it was practical and applicable. So the students quickly mastered the glyphs at the beginning and then moved to a focus of applying the markup to their coursework. The program was adapted to make sure it was flexible to accommodate students joining mid-year. So it was providing students support to those students to ensure that they caught up and progressed alongside their peers. The school and teachers saw results and they saw the growth fast. They reported seeing results within 2 to 3 weeks. 1/3 of their EL students were reclassified from English learner to English fluent status, and 100% of their students had improved at least a grade level during the implementation. The student mindset shifted from reading is impossible to I can do this, and educators reported a reduction in fatigue. We have a great video available. I won't play it in the webinar today, but we can send out the links of the teacher from this school if anyone wants to hear from his real kind of voice speaking to the results and the implementation of Readable English. In terms of quantitative data, they also saw a significant increase in the proportion of students reading at grade level from 10% before implementation to 62% reading at grade level after implementation. I'm going to finish up here with a quote from John Sweller, who is the founder of cognitive load theory. He's a public advocate of Readable English, stating that Readable English has the power to transform the teaching of English. So I hope you're ready now to make the shift to Readable English. Contact our team, get answers to any questions you may have, schedule a demo. We'd love to explore further with your school. And try the product for yourself, see it in action with a pilot. Yeah, definitely contact us, reach out more. We're here now, so as I said, it's a kind of short setup that we've got some time now for questions and discussion. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to send them through the chat and we can discuss those here. I think we have one coming in already. So the question is, can you integrate it with other tools or LMSs? Yes, so that would be something we would work with your team on during onboarding. In the main sense, that would be our browser extension, so obviously we install the extension and then just switch it on in any digital format. As far as all the implementations we've had with schools, all the main LMSs as well as supplemental resources like iExcel are all working well and seamlessly with the browser extension. Got another one here. 1 second. Are there any upcoming training PD opportunities to really dive into the program? Actually, I'll hand over to you for that one, Sabrina.
Yeah, so if you are really interested in implementing, please reach out. We can set up a demo with you and kind of share some of what that looks like. We'd love to hear about your current implementation with what you're using right now and what your goals are to move your students to where they need to be or where you would like them to be.
Another question here. So how is this different from other structured literacy tools? So Readable English, we are aligned to the science of reading throughout the program. We definitely target those 5 key reading skills, as Sabrina touched on, phonemic and phonics, phonemic awareness and phonics in kind of the breaking code phase. And then we really move into fluency, vocabulary comprehension in the integrating the markup phase. But our innovation is really in how we visually and cognitively support decoding for students. So we mark up the code so students don't have to guess or overload their cognitive capacity remembering all those decoding rules. So I will add that, of course, there's nothing wrong with structured literacy, especially in the earlier grade levels, elementary. We respect the research and the science, but also just kind of being honest with those traditional approaches at the secondary level, they take time, and it's time that our secondary students don't have. So often they don't have the time to catch up. The schools don't have the time to implement these lengthy structured literacy approaches. We need to give them that support to catch up quickly. So that's where Readable English is a solution that works faster without sacrificing that quality. Great, some great questions. Thank you, everyone. I think we'll be in touch. We'll have a follow-up email go out with a copy of these slides and a recording for anyone who's interested. We will be running some more tiny teachers just like this one. We hope you can join additional webinars, and we look forward to keeping in touch. Thanks, everyone.